Hi folks, I'm Don Meisner, and I'm here actually in downtown Massena at the Veterans Park. Beautiful spot with a grass river at my back. And I want to use this as an introduction to all of you to stay with us where you're watching this right now. And in the weeks and months to come, I'm going to show you a lot of different videos on all different waters around the Massena area. But I think this is a great starting point. You know, this river is one of my favorite in the world. It runs right down through the center of Massena. And ironically, as I look out here right now, there's probably a muskie within 50 feet of me. And that's what makes this river so special. But it's only the beginning to the special things that you'll discover if you come to Massena and fish some of the surrounding waters. The pros always say don't let the fish jump, because that's when, this is in my mind a river monster. You are not going to catch much bigger bass in a small river than what this fish is. You see, these bass are smart. They know that they've got to find structure to get, and this hook is barely in this bass. I'm going to bring him right up here and hope that I can show them to you, because this is really a big bass. That is a trophy. I mean a trophy bass. If you were catching that in the St. Lawrence River, it'd be a trophy, and yet this bass is twice as old. To get to be this size takes about 20 years in talking to biologists. This is, well, to give you an idea, there is 9, and there's 9. This is over 18 inches long. Wow, I am thrilled. I am thrilled. I started out today to be able to show all of you the type of fishing you can get in these different waters near Massena, New York. Little did I think that with camera along, we'd actually be lucky enough to catch something like this. This is fantastic. Oh my God, this is amazing. Oh, if you could see the bass that is following this bass is just a huge, huge monster smallmouth that followed this bass. I switched and put on a horny toad, which is a frog imitator. This is a beautiful bass, but I'm telling you, the bass following, it's still out there. There it is, right behind him. It's following him all around. Right behind him, it's about a 20-incher. Oh my gosh, and it's not the shadow that I'm talking about either that we see under there right now. There he is, right there. There's a big bass, right there. He's going back over to the corner. Oh my gosh. To nonchalantly handle this fish, which is a beautiful 15, 16-inch smallmouth. Again, these fish are the fish of fishermen's dreams. This is what I think a lot of you probably sit back and just can imagine, going to a place where you can just walk out. I'll show you here in a second. There's a bridge right above us. So we're right at car access. He has twisted this around, and I'm having there we go. At some point I'm going to show you what we're using. Look at how healthy and big that bass is. Now I got to tell you here's what I am doing. I am targeting places like structure. See that big tree that's down, and it's got branches coming out in the water. It provides shade and it provides cover. And we know that there's at least 2 or 3 big bass right there by that tree, hanging out there. I know that big one that went back. You know, the thing I wonder, does that bass that I just released go back over there, because he swam right back over there? Tell the other bass, look it, all bets are off now. Do not, I repeat, do not go after anything that looks out of the ordinary, even if it looks great, like those baits do. So we'll see if that's what they're saying. I don't know. Let me fix this frog. This is called a horny toad. The baits that I'm using as well, they're very, very easy for anybody to use, because all you do is cast them and reel them back. I'm going to cast over by that tree again. And the neat thing about fishing something like this is you can The neat thing about a bait like this is that you can see the wake of the fish. If it's a big fish, you're going to see the wake coming after it, and that's what's exciting. Ooh, 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 ooh. A great big smallmouth just followed it right in. I was trying to figure eight him like you do muskies. I'm sure he must have seen us. These are huge, huge bass in this area. And we're right. Ooh. Oh my goodness, wasn't that exciting? Oh. I don't know if you saw that fish strike on the surface, but that's the most exciting part of fishing. Another huge bass. Huge bass. Can you imagine standing in water, lukewarm water, in the same environment as a fish and having this happen? Oh my gosh, I'm speechless. I don't think I've ever This is even bigger. These fish are spectacular. There's no other word. They're spectacular. You know what makes me wonder? And you got to be thinking the same thing. We all have streams near us. But I'll bet you, I'd bet a jackpot on this, that no matter where you are, you've never been to a body of water like this, where there's bass this size just lurking, waiting for you. Remember, this bass is probably 15 to 20 years old. If in fact it is, how come nobody's catching them? I guess what that means is we are in waters that a lot of these fish never see a lure like this. And it truly is amazing. I've never been one lost for words, but there's nothing really I can say except, wow. All right, one more cast. I'll tell you what's happened. That fish is hit. There's probably a couple of them in there. They're probably only 10, 12 inches. But I had a... Yeah, I think these are smaller fish. There was another strike. This is a big bait for smallmouths. And so if they're only like 9 or 10 inches, a lot of times this is hard for them to get in their mouth when it's riffly like this. And I'm not setting the hook on those. You can tell. When you get one of these big boys, they smash it. They hit it with all their might. And I'm telling you, even compared to a muskie, sometimes these big, old smallmouth strikes are harder. Golly! Another giant. This one, oh, this is a terrific bass. Look at these bass. This is fantastic. Now, look at this rock right here beside me. This is what that bass saw. He swam right under it, and I couldn't budge him. The only way we got him is Russ crawled under there like the people down south for the catfish, stuck his hand under the rock, felt the bass wiggling, and he was still hooked. Isn't this a fabulous bass? And I got to show you something too. This was a cast, 2 casts later. Just so you know, they aren't all monsters in here. There's lots of fish like this, almost like a tiny, tiny bass that happens to be 10 inches long. You know, folks, I want to tell you a little story about what made me be here, why this fishing is so special to me. For years and years and years, and 20 years to be exact, I did a TV show called Streamside where I traveled all over the continent. And I kept thinking to myself, as great as all these places were, back home in upstate New York, there were water after water that was just as good or better, and hardly anybody ever visited. So after getting out of the service and after spending all those years doing that, one of my greatest goals, I guess, was to share this story with others. And that's why it's so special for me to be able to stand here on this river, here in the middle of the summer, and share this fishing with you. I think a lot of you might be really surprised to see what we're seeing today. But if you were here, you wouldn't be, because there's miles and miles of water like this, and every single pool has fish in it. And I'm trying to pass on to you where to find those fish in those pools. But I promise you, if you were to come to Massena, use that as your headquarters, as your vacation place to stay, and then explored all the waters around, you will have a fishing vacation. And not just a fishing vacation. There's things here for the whole family. It's so wild and beautiful and unscathed and untarnished that there's all kinds of places the whole family can go. If you don't want to fish, if you want to take a day to go up some of the trails and hike up to the mountain peaks, there's beautiful waterfalls. I mean, this really is a sportsman's heaven. And I hope I see you there in heaven someday.